Thank you for joining us for the second part of our interview with Brian Tracy. So Brian, you've seen a lot of changes in the profession of selling. Can you give us a couple of the milestones of change and how does that affect today's salespeople?
The center of every product market is hollowing out, and it's spreading. So there's two major areas of selling. The first is called the transactional sale, and the second is called the consultative sale. The transactional sale is where you're simply selling a product. This market is disappearing because soon people will buy these products, basically commodity products that are available from many suppliers. They'll buy this online and they won't need a salesperson at all. At the other end is you have the great opportunity area, the consultative sale. And the consultative sale means that your product or service has to be tailored and customed for the specific client. It's not a fixed product or service in a box or in a brochure. And so they say that today, in consultative selling, you actually create the product when you are with the customer, discussing the customer's wants and needs, and creating the product so it exactly satisfies what they want and need at this time.
You cannot slow down because life is accelerating at enormous speeds that even change is changing.
Now change is discontinuous. It's completely breaking. It's starting off in whole new directions that are almost unpredictable. If you look at what has happened since the advent of the dot-coms and then the advent of the iPhone and then the applications that the iPhone has, and you look at what's happened in technology, it's unbelievable. We've probably experienced more change since 2006 with the introduction of the iPhone than we may have experienced in the previous 10 or 15 years.
What is the role of technology today in sales compared to selling skills?
The great tragedy is that most salespeople are hiding behind technology, hiding behind email and online messages and so on, rather than actually going out and getting face-to-face and talking to customers. And it's killing them. It's killing their professions. You'll find that most salespeople today are on the screen or on some kind of electronic connection virtually 8 or 9 hours of the day. Your level of sales and income today is largely determined by the amount of time you spend face-to-face with qualified prospects. So therefore, if you want to double your income, you have to double the amount of time that you're spending face-to-face. And I call this FaceTime. And I have taught this to large and small companies worldwide, and they've come back to me and said it's absolutely miraculous. If you can use your time to spend more and more time face-to-face, we say head-to-head, knee-to-knee, with prospects who can and will buy and pay within a reasonable period of time, your sales just double by the law of averages or the law of probabilities.
Let's talk about adversity a little bit deeper because a personal example. How do you deal with really earth-shaking adversity?
They say that a person's character is always revealed under pressure. So if you think you're a positive and confident and optimistic person, well, it's easy to be that when life is sweet. So it's when you have problems and difficulties that you test whether or not it's true. And I'm happy to say for myself, when I was diagnosed with throat cancer, which for a professional speaker is pretty terrifying diagnosis, I just responded to it in a very positive and constructive way. I had got the best doctors, the best oncologists and radiologists and surgeons, and put them together as a team. I read everything that was available, book after book, on the subject, so I thoroughly understood. I got second opinions from experts, and then I walked through the treatment and the recovery process, just as standard as baking cookies. It takes about 6 months from initial diagnosis to the conclusion of the process, and exactly 6 months, 180 days later, I was speaking to 500 people in Singapore. I looked upon having cancer as an inconvenience, and all I wanted to do is, let's get this treated and get it over with so I can get back to work. And that's exactly what happened.
Brian, this was a very valuable and insightful interview. I want to thank you for your time. And thank you for continuing to contribute to the sales profession.
Thank you, Gerhard. And your publication is still the best in the business, and I recommend it to everybody. And so I thank you for the great work that you're doing. Please keep it up.